intro to Kotlin, and in this tutorial we're going to learn what is Kotlin. Now Kotlin is a programming language such as C, C#, JavaScript and so on and so forth, just a similar language, and it was developed by JetBrains. Now this JetBrains is the company which is the one who has created the Android Studio and IntelliJ IDEA and many other famous softwares. Now this company has introduced Kotlin in 2011, and suddenly Google thought, wow, what a great language, and it made it the official Android app development language. Now Google has made what? Kotlin the official Android app development language. And now you might be asking, why Kotlin? I mean, it could be any other language. Why Kotlin, right? Now the simplest reason for you as the programmers who don't have any basis in programming would be, it's simple. Now look at Java code. It has like 15 to 20 lines, and on the other hand Kotlin has only 6 lines. Obviously you would go for Kotlin, and Kotlin doesn't look really hard to understand. It's just really small pieces of code. It's really simple code. As compared to that, Java is really long and there are a lot of bullshit going on. So obviously the simplest and the most obvious reason would be that it's simple. Now other reasons could be null safety and other important things, but that has nothing to do with us because we are beginners and we don't have to deal with those stuff for now. So basic and the most obvious reason would be Kotlin is simple, Java is hard. I mean, I have the ultimate version and you will have the simple version, that's all. Okay, now after you have this, what you want to do? After you have this, you have to do a simple step. You don't want to install it right away. If you're in operating system, no matter what type of operating system you are using, maybe you are using the 32-bit or 64-bit, doesn't matter. Now in here you can use the, well, it's the Windows whatever, accept the license, and you want to just download this and you will be good to go. Now download this, install this, and then install the software and you are good to go. So once you have opened up your IDE or IntelliJ IDEA, you want to click on create new project, and from here you want to choose the Kotlin and then Kotlin JVM, Java Virtual Machine, and then from there you want to choose the project name. I'm going to say Kotlin, that's all, Kotlin would be enough, and I'm going to just finish up this project. Now in here, if you come in here, you would see that you don't have anything inside. So what you want to do is you want to right click in the source file or on the source file, and from the right you want to choose Kotlin file, and you want to name your file as hello world maybe, and okay, and you're good to go. Now this hello world in here, inside in here you want to type main. Once you type main, it will give you an option, it will give you a recommendation. You have a main function, you want to click OK, and it will generate the main function for you. So this is your main function. If you don't get it generated, you can just type fun main. Let me type it for you just for the sake of the tutorial. We're going to say fun, then main, then parentheses, and in here we're going to say args colon and array, then less than greater sign, then inside in here we're going to type string, then curly braces, and we're good to go. So this is our main program. Now inside in here I want to say print, means pop out, print means give me the output, print, and inside in here I'm going to say hello world, hello world, and we're going to right click in here and we're going to run the project. And now it's done building and it says hello world in here. So if I type something else, let's say another world, I'm going to say print again, and I'm going to say another world, and we run this again, and as you can see it says hello world, and after that it says another world. Now how can you get a space in here? Well, the basic or the simplest way is have a space in here and you will have a space in here. But if you want to go to the new line, you gotta type print ln in the previous section. So what is the difference between print and print ln? Basically, the print statement, what it does, it prints this code. It will print another world, but after that it doesn't create any new line. But the print ln, what it does, it's going to type or print out hello world, then after that it's going to create a new line. So it goes to new line, and here it's going to type the next thing, that is another world. So let's see. As you can see, hello world, it types hello world, then there is a new line, and in the new line this code gets executed and it's going to say another world. Now as you can see, after this code there is no new line. So as you can see, there is no new thing in here, new line, extra line. But if I type ln in here, then you will see a new line. So let me play this and let's wait for a second. And as you can see, we get a new line in here. Hello world, then the new line, then another world, then the new line. So if you break this into two pieces, it's gonna say print. So I'm gonna print this and then I'm gonna create a new line after I print this. Similarly, the second line, it's gonna say I'm gonna print another world, and after that I'm gonna create a new line, or I'm gonna go to the new line. Data types. Now there are a couple of data types such as string, integer, and double, and boolean, and many other, but these are the important ones. Okay, and actually we had a chart too. And now the string basically means the text. Let's suppose you write Ali. Ali is a text, right? So it's a string. And whenever you declare string, or you want to type or output string or use string in your program, you would use double quote. So whenever you want to use text in your program, you would use double quote. And whenever you want to use number, you would say just a number and no problem. But when you have a number with a decimal place, means a dot, then you would use the double. Let's suppose it's 9. So 25.9 is a double data type. Similarly, true or false is a boolean data type. You can have two types of values in here, either true, either false. Other value is not accepted. You can't say just maybe, or no, or yes. This is not accepted. You have only two values, true or false. And the char, you use single quote and type the character inside. Any character, a single character. If you use A, B, then that is wrong. Sorry, this is also wrong. So that is wrong. You can't have double character. You can only have single character. So a string is a type of text. Whenever you want to use text, for example, in print, you want to use text, right? So you would say Ali. But if you want to print a number, you would only say number. You won't use these. You won't use these, okay? Now, if you want to use double, you would say 25.5, and you don't need to use the double quotes. Double quotes are only used when you want to talk about, or whenever you want to use the text. And then boolean, no problem. You use true or false, no problem. You don't need double quote at all. And for the character, you need only single quote. Now let us actually have a practical look at it. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a new file, and we're going to call it data type file data types. And inside here you want to create a main program, and inside main program you want to say print ln, and inside in here you want to print your name. Maybe you have George as your name, or you want to print your age, so you're going to say print ln 25. Then maybe you want to print something like year, birth year, so you want to say print ln birth year is 2018 minus let's suppose 25, right? So that would be your birth year. So let us print this and see what's going to happen. What the hell? I don't see anything. Why? Well, because we ran the hello world.kt rather than data types.kt. So right click in here and you gotta run this in here, not that one. Now you see something strange. You type 25, 25 is 25, but you type 2018 minus 25, it came out as it is. Why? Because you are typing a number as a string, so it won't change. It will consider is a correct a collection of characters, and it won't consider it for calculation. Now if we take these out, okay, and let us run this again. Boom, you were born in 1993. So the way you can do calculation is by having the data type as a number, integer, or whatever, but not as string, right? Then after that we have the Boolean data type. So Boolean is basically saying true, okay? And after that we have the character single quote C, it will print the character. But if you type AB, it won't print it because it will say I only need one character, because you said with single quote. So single quote because it can have only one character, so you can't have more than one character in single quote. Okay, variables. Now what are variables? We remember from our mathematics class that x equals 25, right? X equals 25, and obviously y equals 30. So we know that x plus y result in what? Obviously 25 plus 30, that is equal to 55. Now that is not the question. The question is that x is basically holding the value. X is a box that is holding a value 25, and y is another box that is holding a value 30. Now this is variable. This is a variable. In programming, these are variables. Basically, when you say that x equals 25, a variable is created. But before that, you have to tell it that I'm creating a variable, not just x equals 25. You have to say var, I'm creating a variable called x equals 25. So it's called x and it holds value 25. Now, let's suppose I have a variable called name and it holds Ali. Obviously, we remember from the previous tutorial that there should be 2 quotation marks. Now in Kotlin, there is really a great practice that is var x colon int is equal to 25. Now basically what it means that you are telling Kotlin that x should only accept the integer value. It shouldn't contain any other value. So if you write instead of 25, you write 25.5, it's gonna say it's incorrect, and it's not gonna compile it, or it's not gonna run it. It's gonna say this is incorrect, so you can't run it. Obviously, if I go and say var name and I say it is of type double, and then I type Ali, it's going to say whatever you enter in here, it doesn't matter to me. You said it's going to be double, that's why this is incorrect, unless you make it string. Okay, so let's go and check it in practice and see how it's going to work. Okay, so let's come in the source and right click, and we are going to create a new file, Kotlin file, and I'm going to call it variables, and a new file is created. Obviously, I need the main function, so we get the main function and we close down the window. Now in here, I'm going to say var, I'm creating a variable called x and it holds value 25, right? And I'm going to print x. So if we run this program now, after clicking on here and saying run the variables.kt, you see that we get 25 printed. Now let us create another variable, but this time I'm going to specify the type. So I'm going to say var y is of type string, and it should contain 25.5. Now you see that there is some error in here. That's why it's underlined red. So you can't print this. If I try printing y, okay, this be x. Let's print y by itself. So print y, and if I try and run this now, it won't run. As you can see, it is giving me error, and obviously it's not gonna work. It's not working. So what is the way to correct this error? Obviously you take out the 25.5 and put love in here, love. And now you see no error because it's saying that y should be of type string, right? Then it goes in here and says, okay, it is of type string, that's why there is no problem. Well, equal comes in here. Now if you try to run this, you're gonna see that there is no problem in this code. So as you can see, 25 love. Obviously you didn't put ln in here, that's why I didn't put, sorry, that's why there isn't a new line, but that's what I mean. This is how variable works. So let's get started. I'm going to create a variable called my name, and I'm going to say it is equal to 25, or well, my name maybe Ali. So what the hell, I just wrote everything correct, right? Well, why is there space? When you're declaring a variable, remember always that you cannot have space. Okay, so either way, if you want space, you can put underscore in here and it will work good too, but you cannot have space, number one. Number two, you can use the camel casing. You can say my name, and as you can see, it's more readable, my name. Number three, you can start with underscore, but you cannot start with a number. You can say to my name, right? No, you cannot do that. You can't say double quote my name or at the rate of my name. No, you cannot do that. So you can only start with underscore. Okay, now let's say var my name is Ali, and var, I didn't specify the type, so I'm going to specify type in the other one. I'm going to say var age, my age gonna be of type int, and it's gonna say 23 this time. Var gender, and I'm going to say it's of type char, and it is male, right? And let's say var is married, basically means are you married, and this is going to be of type boolean, and it's going to say false, I'm not married. Now let us print this information. I'm going to say print. In here I'm going to say my name, is married plus is married. Now what I'm doing is I'm saying that first type is married, so first print out is married, then print out the value of is married. So is married value contains false, right? So it's going to say false. Now the plus means that after this you have to put this. That's all. Now let us run this and see how it's going to work. And as you can see, it says Ali 23, male, is married, false. Now let's make it a bit more exciting, right? I'm going to start with name, now let us print this. So name Ali, age 23, gender male. Obviously I forgot the colon and space in here, my mistake, but it's working, right? Now how about I make it a single line? I can just do something really crazy in here. I can say, let me bring it down. I can say name, my name, then I can say plus age, then I can say plus age, now if I run this, you'll see that it will contain one single problem, that there is no new line. So as you can see, it's on same line and it is not good. Now to overcome this problem, what you can do is you can type something called /n. So if before age you put /n, and before gender you put /n, and before the is married you put /n, and run this, now everything is on new line. Now /n, what it does is before age it's gonna create a new line. So before age there is nothing, so after a it creates a new line. Before gender it creates a new line, and before is married it's gonna create a new line. Now this is called escape sequence. So you gotta remember that whenever you need a new line, you don't need to go and create a new println. Rather than that, you can say /comments, var and val difference, and string templates. So let's get started. Now the first thing we want to learn about is comments. What are comments? Comments are basically text that you want to put as reminders or as note taking, whatever. It's just a text that doesn't get compiled. Let's take an example. And one example is that we have this grayed out text in here. If we run this program, do you know what's going to happen? This text is not going to create any problem with the code and not going to get compiled or not going to do anything. It's just a text. It doesn't have any interference with the program. Let's suppose I run this program. And as you can see, there is nothing in here. Why? Because this means nothing. Now what is going on here? Simply, if I put a double slash in here and type whatever I want, and as you can see, nothing. Compiler doesn't give me any error, nothing is happening. But if I remove these slashes in here, you will see, wow, I have errors in here, because what is not a keyword, because it means that it's not being used by Kotlin. So the compiler IntelliJ IDEA doesn't understand what is what keyword and what is I keyword, and these keywords basically it doesn't understand what is going on in here. So because these are English words and these are used for communication, note taking, and so on and so forth, for academic purpose or speaking purpose, so we don't, when we put these slashes in here, we mean that this is for us, not for the program, so it's not going to compile. The other thing is, let's suppose as you can see, I have 4 lines in here, right? So every time I had to type double slash to get comment, right? Now what I can do is I can do something really nice. Wait, I can put slash star asterisk, and underneath in here asterisk slash. Basically this is the start, this is the end, and everything in between this will become a comment. So this is a multi-line comment, and double slash is a single line comment. Now there is something else called document comment, and what it does is it's basically for the document. You want to give information about the document, about this specific software, this specific what you can say is specific program. You can just give it in doc comment. So the way it is written is same slash asterisk, but you have to put another asterisk in here. And now as you can see, anything you put in between these two will have asterisks before it. That's how it's going to work. That's how it works. And let's go to our tutorial number 2, and that is, or sorry, our part 2, and that is the difference between val and var. Now we know that var is a value holder, right? It holds some particular value. Now let's say var x equals string, and that holds value of Sabrina. Now this is Sabrina. Now let's suppose Sabrina is our main actress. She is the heroine, right? Now I don't want x to be changed by mistake or anything. So I want x to remain Sabrina during whole movie, right? So during that situation, you need a constant, right? In Kotlin, that constant is val. If this doesn't make sense, let us take another example. We know that pi, pi, pi is a constant value, pi, var pi of type, let's say double, and it is 3.14 something. I remember till 3.14. So pi is a constant value. Now constant value means it shouldn't be changed. So there are some values that should not be changed and remain the same. So that's val. Whenever you want the value to not change and remain the same, that is when you use the val keyword. Let's suppose last example would be val, let's say software name of type string. Now, do you want the software name to change anytime in the future? Obviously no. So let's say my app. My app is the application name or the software name. So this is how it works. The only difference is that var is a mutable type and val is immutable. Mutable means that it can be changed, its value can be changed in the future, but the val value cannot be changed. So cannot be changed means like I cannot write x is equal to now this time cat. It's not gonna work. It's gonna say x is already Sabrina, so you can't change it. But let us suppose I want to change pi, and let me change pi's value to, okay, actually let's make it var simply. So if I say var, its value should be changed. Oh, this is capital X, so small x. Its value can't be changed, right? So as you can see in here, its value can't be changed. It's not giving me any error. But if I come back and change it to val and see, it's going to give me error. It's going to say val cannot be reassigned, means it cannot be changed. Now going to the third thing, that is called string template. This is one of the most important thing in Kotlin. It's really amazing thing. Is let me take out everything in here, and let us bring from variables tutorial. Let me bring this thing, this piece of code, and let's paste it in here. Now as you can see, this thing is really bad. I mean, I don't know, but it looks really terrible. So the way to overcome this is really easy. You want to say my name colon $, the name of the variable, that is my name, and /n means new line, my age, and the age is $, my age. Now /n means new line. Now let's type gender colon $, gender. New line is married, $, is married. It's really easy. As you can see, basically what you are doing is you're saying, when I say $, my name, I mean that this name should be printed in here, or its value should be printed in here. So let us run this and let's see whether it works or not. And as you can see, it works perfectly and there is no pluses in between. The first thing we are going to look at is the to keyword. So simply, let us suppose I have a variable called x and it is of type int and it contains value or holds value 25. Now what I want to do is I want to convert this to a double. I want to convert what? I want to convert x to double. It's really simple. You gotta say x dot to double, and you are done. Make sure that it's written as it is. You have the parentheses, and you have after to the first letter capital. So if you want to convert to double, you gotta write capital D. If you want to convert to long, you gotta write capital L. Okay. So if we run this, we see that it has been converted to double. Now let us take another example. We're going to say var y of type, let's say string, and it holds value 30. Right? Now what I want to do is I want to use this particular string for multiplication. I'm going to go and say print ln y dot to int, and then parentheses, and here I'm going to multiply it by 4. And obviously I forgot the t in here, so print. Okay, now let us run this. And as you can see, we have successfully converted a string to an int. Now putting this method in use, let us say var x of type int is equal to readline. Okay, then we're going to say the to int. Similarly, var y of type int is equal to readline, and you want to say to int, and you want to print sum $, curly braces, and in here you want to say x plus y. Okay, so now what is happening here? I'm declaring a variable called x, and it will hold what? It will hold this value. This value means user will enter a value. The read line means get the value from the user. So user will enter a value and it will be converted to int. Now this particular thing in here, you have to actually bear with me with this, because this has not been covered yet, but we will cover it later. Just write these exclamation marks and just ignore these please, and just write them as they are, because they are needed, otherwise this will not work. So basically I'm taking a value from the user and converting it into a string, into an int, sorry, and same I'm getting a value from the user and converting it to an int. Now what I'm saying is I'm going to print what? The sum. Then I have this method, something different. We know that we have string template, but what does this mean? Well, in string template what we have is a single value, right? Let's suppose you have something like this, right? Or something like this. Obviously it works, but sometimes you need not one value, maybe you need two values together. So if I say x plus y, as you can see, it considers the first value to be the part of string template. The second value doesn't appear to be like that. So you have to make sure if you have multiple values, you put them in the curly braces. Now let us run this and see whether it works or not. As you can see, it is waiting for my input, so I'm going to say 25. Again, it's waiting, so I'm going to say 30. And as you can see, it says sum is equal to 55. Similarly, let me copy this, and I'm going to make it an ln. Okay, and copy this, sorry. Let's have multiple copies, and this is going to be the difference. This is going to be the multiple, and this is going to be the divide or division. So this is the difference, this is the multiple, multiplication. Let's write multiplication, that's all. And here we're going to write division, and let's run this. Now let's write 25, 55, and as you can see, it gives me the sum, the difference, the multiplication, and the division. Okay, first of all, what is an operator? Now, operator means a symbol which represents some action. For example, the symbol plus represents some action of addition, right? The symbol minus, I mean this thing in here, represents the action of subtraction. Okay, so these are what? These are operators. So operator is what? Operator is a symbol which represents some action. And in this tutorial, we're going to be learning about the arithmetic operators. Now, these symbols are what? These symbols are addition. Let me actually have a multi-line comment in here. So we have addition symbol. As plus, we have the subtraction symbol. As minus, we have the multiplication symbol. As the star asterisk. And we have the division symbol. Well, not and. It's not the last one. As division, I mean slash. And we have the modulus symbol. What? Modulus. Now this might sound new to those who are coming really for the first time in the programming field. It might sound different, but it is basically something that you need to learn, and it's really easy. So it looks like the percentage sign, right? But it's not a percent, it's a modulus. Okay, so sounds interesting, right? But what is it? How do you look at it? Or how do we use them? Well, they are easy to use. Let's have a simple example. Let me get rid of all of these. So we have a simple example. We have a val. We know the val is constant, which means this value cannot be changed later on. So we have a val called num1, it's 12.5, num2 or number 2 is 3.5. Now the result will be in double. Double means in dot notation, right? It will have a dot. It will have a dot. Okay, now it's saying that number 1, that is 12.5, plus means we are adding these two with, so we are adding number 1 with number 2, and the process addition is occurred through this symbol. Okay, now we are printing that inside in here. So we are first taking the 12.5, that is 13, 16, right? So we are saying 16.0 will go first in the result, and the result will be printed in here. Now again, 12.5 minus 3.5. So 0.5 goes directly, and 12 minus 3 is 9. So we have 9 in here. Now multiplication, that is asterisk. Asterisk means that we multiply these two numbers. Well, we know what is multiplication, so I don't want to force it. It's just as simple as we know it. It's multiplication, come on. Now the last one is the second last is the division, and as we know, it's division, like 2 divided by 2 results in 1, right? So we know that 2 divided by 2 results in what? 1. Similarly, we know that 10 divided by 5 results in 2. Okay, so it's easy, right? Now the last one is not the easy one. It's not hard, it's easy, but it's, I mean, it's really, sometimes for some people it's really hard to compute through their mind, but it's still really easy. It's just as hard it is to compute numbers while adding or dividing. Come on, dividing is not easy while in mind, right? So this is the same way. For some people, I mean, not all, some are geniuses out there. And I'm not one of them, believe me. Okay, so let us suppose I divide 10 by 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. What is remaining? Remainder is 1. Right? So the remainder is what? 1. What is 1? Remainder. Remainder. Now this remainder is actually modulus. Modulus, what it does, it gives you the result the remainder as a result. So when you divide 12.5 by 3.5, the result is what? The remainder. The remainder is your answer. Now let us see what is remainder, and let us see how it's gonna come out. So let's run this operators.kt, and as you can see, we have, when we add two numbers we get 16, when we subtract two numbers we get 19.0, with the multiplication is 43.75, with the division is 3.5714. Wow, at least not the pi number. And with the division, with the modulus, the remainder is 2.0. What is the remainder? 2. Well, the remainder is 2. That's all. We know that when we declare a value to a variable, let us suppose I declare a value of x to a variable, actually value of 25 to variable x, then this equal sign in here is said to be an assignment operator. So equal sign is actually assigning the value 25 to the variable x. Similarly, if I create a variable, let's say hot dog, and let's say it's priced at 36, so I'm basically assigning the value 36 to hot dog. Now, well, it's a simple thing. We already know that how to create a variable. All we needed to know is that there is something called equal sign, and this equal sign in programming language is called assignment operator. Okay, well, what if I want to assign, or I want to add the value of 25 with 10? Okay, so the value of x I want to add up with 10. So in actually assignment, in assignment operator, let me actually print this. So print ln, and we're going to print x. Now if I want to increase this x by 10, what I'm going to do, I can always say x is equal to x plus 10, right? So the x is value what? Well, you don't need this, by the way. So x is what? X is, well, 25. 25 plus 10 is what? 25 plus 10 is 35. Okay, and that 35, so this value of 35 is being assigned to x. So what is the new value of x? Well, the new value of x is 35. So anytime I call x, I'm not calling 25, I am calling 35. So let us run this and let us see what do we get. Nice. Now, well, in programming, actually, we have using this equal sign or assignment operator, we have shorter way of assigning some additional value to the previous variable. Okay, so let us suppose I want to, same way, if I want to do the same thing, I can do it in simple way. I can say plus equals 10. Not plus minus, plus equals 10. Now this plus equals basically means x is equal to x plus 10. Okay, so we can, rather than this big notation in here or expression in here, we can actually just use this thing and we are good to go. And for subtraction, we have x minus equals 10, so we are subtracting 10. Okay, good. Actually, let me print this, copy this, print, so that anytime we need it, or we keep printing the new results, right? So this time what's gonna get printed? Well, minus x value will be printed. Similarly, I can say x times equals 10. Basically, I'm saying x is equal to x multiplied by 10. Okay, and so on and so forth. We have a value, we have for division 2, so x is equal to x divided by 10, and we have for modulus x modulus equals 10, where, well, basically this means that x equals x modulus 10, and this one means x equals x divided by 10. Easy, right? So these results won't be printed, the multiplication and the division ones, because I'm not printing them. Well, I can print them, it's easy. Actually, let me print it for you. So it just requires 3 lines more. Not a big deal, right? So let's right click and let's play the operators. And as you can see, we get 35 while adding with 25. So 25 plus 10 is 35. Good. And 25, okay, now it's 35, right? This is 35. 35 minus 10 is what? Well, it's 25. So we get 25 back printed. Now if I multiply 25 by 10, it's 250, right? So 250. Now if I divide 250 by 10, it's 25. So, and the modulus of 25, well, is 5, because if I divide if I divide 25 by 10, the remainder is what? The remainder is 5, so we get the remainder of 5. So first of all, what is unary operator? Unary operator is basically an operator which does some operation on a single value, on a single mathematical value. Let us suppose we have a value 10. Now if I do a single value which has nothing with it, like we don't have any expression, we have only a single value, if we do some operation with it using some operator, that is called unary operator. So the operators which we can use for doing some manipulation with the value are plus, minus, not sign, the incrementation sign, and the decrementation sign. So let us learn about all of these. First of all, I'm going to print ln. Okay, now let us suppose I have a variable x that holds value 10. So we know that if I print this, it's going to give us 10. Okay, we have 10. Now if I put minus with it, what's going to happen? Well, if I put minus with it, it's going to become minus 10, right? As you can see, we have minus, then we have 10. So minus does some operation, or minus does some manipulation with a single value. Similarly, plus also does some manipulation, but for now it's not doing anything. Let us suppose I have minus 10 in here. Nothing, because plus minus is minus, so no difference. Well, plus does some things, that's why it's not wrong, right? Now let's see what not sign does. Well, not doesn't work with this. Not works with true or false. Let us suppose I have a value true. Okay, now if I put not in here, what it's going to do is it's going to give me the opposite of it. So right click in here and let us run. It is giving me what? False. Okay, so this is how it works. Now incrementation and decrementation, how they work? Well, they are really easy. When I say incrementation, I mean increasing value by 1. So rather than writing, let us write an expression. Let's say we have 10 in here and I want to increase this value by 1. So I'm going to say plus plus in here, plus plus, and right click in here and operators. Now as you can see, it prints 11, so it increased the value of x by 1. So basically when I say plus plus x, I mean x is equal to x plus 1. 100% same thing, nothing different. And if I put minus minus in here, minus minus in here, and run this, it's going to actually give me 9. Why? Because 10 minus 1 is 9. Because this basically means that x equals x minus 1. So x is what? 10. 10 minus 1 is what? 9. That's all. Now you can actually put these things in front of this too. So if I put plus plus in here and right click and actually run this, no difference. Actually the reason is really simple. When I say plus plus x, so when I say plus plus x, I mean first increase the value, so make the value 10 or 11, sorry, and then print it. When I say x plus plus, means when I put plus plus in front of the x, not before the x, I mean first print the value it is. So what is the value of x? It's 10. So first print 10 and then increment it. Now if I print it again, print ln without incrementing it, do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to get 11. Obviously, because it got incremented after it was printed. So it was printed 10, then when it got printed, it said, okay, now you are printed, now increase the number by 1. So it became 11. Now when I tried to print it again, it printed 11 because x became 11 later on after getting printed. Similarly, you can use the minus 1, 2, and it will work fine, and it will work the same. So it printed first, then it decremented by 1. So then when I printed it again, it showed me the decremented value. Comparison operators. Now what are they? They are actually symbols which are used for comparing values. So we have the greater than operator, the less than operator, the equal to operator, the greater than equal to operator, the less than equal to operator, and the not equal to operator. So let us look at some examples so that we can understand them. Let me get out of here. Okay, so we have print ln 4 is greater than 3. Is 4 greater than 3? Obviously it is. So what should be the result? I mean, it is greater than 3. And no, you are not lying. You are saying the truth. So what you said is true. So what's going to be the result? We know that we have data types, right? In data types, we have Boolean data type, and it is either true, either false. So the result we get from these expression is either true or either false. So the result obtained from comparison operators are either true or either false. So 4 is greater than 3. Is it true or false? It's true. 4 is greater than 3. Now, oopsie. Now, is 5 less than 4? No, 5 is actually more than 4. So this is actually false. Now, is 10 equal to? When we use double equal sign, we basically mean equal. We are comparing the equality between them. Is 5 equal to 5? Yes, it is. Is 10 equal to 10? Yes, it is. So, in programming, for saying equal to, we know that equal sign is this, right? Equal to sign. So this is basically we are saying, is 10 equal to 10? Equal to 10? Yes, it is. But why 2 equal? Why not 1 equal? Well, if we use 1 equal, that would become the assignment operator. That would basically mean I'm assigning the value of 10 to 10, and that doesn't make sense. So we use double equal sign so that we can get rid of this problem. Now we have the greater than or equal to operator. Now this operator basically means if the value is either greater or equal, then it's going to return true. In either of the cases of either greater or equal, it's going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false. So if I say, or if we look at the example, 10 is greater than 11. Is it true? No, it's false. Or 10 is equal to 11. Is it true? No, it is also false. So the overall result is false because none of the conditions have been met. Now let us see, is 10 less than 11? Yes, it is. And is 10 equal to 11? No, but it is less than 11. So it will return true because one of the cases is true, so we have to put true. Now, is 25 not equal to 10? Is 25 not equal to 10? It is not equal to 10. So is this expression saying right that 25 is not equal to 10? So if a person comes to me and says, sir, excuse me, you are wrong, 25 is not equal to 10. So he's saying the same expression. What would I say? He's telling true or false? Well, this expression is telling true. It's not equal to 10. We're not actually checking whether it is equal to, it is not equal to. We're checking whether this expression is saying true or false. So it's saying true that 25 is not equal to 10. So right click in here and let's run this. And as you can see, first is true, second is false, third is, well, we didn't check, but it's true that 10 is equal to 10, right? And fourth is false, then we have true, then we have true. Okay, so all the expressions are right, correct. First of all, the logical operator can also be called an and or operator. So it's and or operator, and or operator. And basically and means, and in programming is written as this, a double and or is written as double bar shift, and there is a button above the shift, sorry, and near the enter key, so double bar. This means and the other one is or. Okay, we remember from our previous tutorial that println, let's actually println, that if a value 10 is greater than and equal to 10, basically means there are two cases, right? It's either greater, so we can say in plain English, if 10 is greater, it's true. Now here, look at this. We are saying if the value of 10 is greater than 10, is it greater than 10? No. So we can actually take this out. Or 10 is equal to 10. Is 10 equal to 10? Yes, then it's true. So if one of the cases is true, then it's true. Similarly, or also works like this, but it doesn't compare two values. It actually compares two expressions. Now let us suppose, actually, let me put t in here. I forgot t. Now let's suppose I have two expressions in here. One is this, and I compare it with another one. I say or 25 is greater than 10. Or actually, let's not say that, greater than 50. Now look at this. 25 is greater than 50. Is it greater than 50? No, it is not. So it's going to be false, right? Now this is what? This is, we know that true, because 10 is equal to 10 in our expression. So it's saying if either one of these expression is true, then the result will be true. But if I copy this and print it here and put double and in here, so this basically means if either of the conditions is false, then it's going to be total false. So if one true, total true. If one false, total false. Sorry. So let's actually run this and let's revise it a bit. So true. If one of the expression is true, this expression is true, right? So it's going to give it true, even if this expression is false. Now same case, this expression is right, so it should give me true, but it said I'm and not or, so I have to get both of them true. So this should also be true and this should also be true. So this is true, but this is not. That's why we got false. If this was true and this was true, we would have gotten true. So in and case, if both of the values are true, then it's true, otherwise it's false. Statement. Now if statement is basically, it's like if a condition, some condition is true, then this piece of code should be executed, otherwise else this piece of code should be executed. Okay, now I know it doesn't make sense to you for now, but bear with me and I hope it will make sense to you after this. So let's first start with the first part. Let us suppose we have a variable called age, right? And it is of, for now, 25. Now I say if age is greater than or is equal to 25, then this expression should run, right? So the expression is println you are good to get married. Good to get married. Now let us suppose I'm developing a program which suggests to people whether they should get married now or wait, right? It's simple program. So you are good to get married if you are greater than 25 or 25. So let us suppose this guy's age is like 36, right? Well, it's really, really, really important for you to get married at 36, but so it says you are good to get married, right? Now, what if the result is like the guy is 20 or the girl is 20? So if you run this, what's going to happen? Well, it doesn't print out anything. So for that, we need to put else. Else, then an expression and or the parentheses, and in here, I mean the curly braces, sorry. And in here, we can print out another line, println, which is going to say, please wait some time. Please wait until you're 25. Okay. So if I run this, it's going to say, please wait until you are 25. So if you are 25, excuse me, so if your age is 25 or greater, it's going to print out this message. But if your age is less than 25, then it's going to print out this message in here. Right? Really easy, right? How can we deal with a situation in which we have multiple conditions? Like for age of 25, we can say that he should get married. But if he is like 40, so we should tell him, please get married as soon as you can, right? So how can we do that? Well, there are two ways. So we are going to look at the first way, that is just put another if condition. So another if condition. So another if will deal with this. So we'll have another if, and it's going to say if age is greater than or is equal to 40, let's change this from 32 to 42 and let's run this. Now as you can see, it shows us that if you are good to get married, because as the age is greater than 25, even 42 is greater than 25, so it says you are good to get married. Then it looks at this condition in here and says, okay, it's 42 or greater than 42, then it prints, please get married as soon as possible. Now, even though we got the right message, we still got the wrong message. So what we can do in here, we can use something or the and in here, so and logical operator, and we can say age is less than 40. Okay, now this situation or this condition will tell it if the age is greater than 25 or 25 and is less than 40, then it should be printed. If it's more than 40 or 40, this statement should be printed, right? So I'm going to right click again and let us run this. Now as you can see, it says please get married as soon as possible. Now let us have a situation where the guy is like 150 years old. It's almost impossible, but whatever. Let's say age is greater than or is equal to 150 years. And we want to say, please don't get married, right? You don't want to destroy someone's life on that age, right? So we can say, please don't get married. I don't mean to say that, but it's just an example. So let's right click and let's run this. Now you will see that this message also appears because according to the situation, the age is 42, which is greater than, okay. I forgot this. Let's write 154. So it does the trick. So let's right click and see. Now you have two situations in here. First, it checks if the age is greater than 40. Is the age greater than 40? 154. Yes, it is. So it's going to print this one. Then it's going to go to the second part in here. And it's going to check, is the age greater than 150? And it is, it's 154, so it's going to also print this part in here. To overcome this thing, we'll again use the logical operator and and we're going to say age is less than 150 years. Now if I right click now and run this conditional statement or conditional program, run this, as you can see, please don't get married appears according to our input. Simple, right? Now the other way is actually quite simple, quite alike. All you have to do is write in here else if. Now if you look at this, we have one if in here and the else is here. So anything in between is additional statement. These are additional statements, so they come under the if statement. Okay, but you can use both, no problem. The conventional way is to use else if, because it makes more sense when you are programming big things. Okay, so let's right click and let's run this and see if it results the same thing. And as you can see, it results in the same thing, so we are good to go. So first thing first, what is a when statement? Let's suppose you have a situation where you ask the user to input a value. So you ask the user to input a value. For example, you have options like courses, math, science, physics, chemistry, and so on and so forth, and you ask it choose from these numerically, like math has a number 1 and English has number 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's suppose we have number 1 for math, and that's all. Now the user inputs the value, and according to his selection, there should be an output, right? You should give him a result for his selection, right? So in this situation, what do you do? Well, one way is you say if, let's suppose the value is var subject of type. So we say if the subject is equal to English, okay, 1, then this, else this, and else on, so on and so forth. So it's basically the if conditional statement or if else statement. Now there is an easier way for this, because in this situation you have to always write if else, right? But if we use the when statement, which I prefer in this case, then you're gonna see it's really simple. We're gonna say when x, and then in here we'll have our statements. Oh, we don't have x, sorry, when subject. Then we're gonna say if he chooses 1, then println, congrats, you have chosen maths. As a simple, because it's nothing real, so we keep it as simple as possible. Now if he gets or he chooses 2, then we can say println, and actually let's not say that, let's copy this part in here and paste it. Let's say English, and for the third part, if the result is 3, then you can say println physics. If it's none of this, else error, then you're gonna say println, and let's say please choose the correct extension or number. Okay, now because it's 2, it should print English. Right click in here and go to run when statement, and as you can see it says congratulations, you have chosen English. Now let us suppose instead of this in here, instead of a number, I have a string. Okay, so if the string is, let's suppose for now my string is English, then I'm gonna say if the result is English, oh sorry, maths, then it should print this. If it's English, then it should print this. And if it's physics, then it should print this. Else it should print please choose the correct subject. Right click and let's run this. And as you can see, it says congratulations, you have chosen English. Let's choose physics in here for a change. Okay, right click and let's run this. And as you can see, it says congratulations, you have chosen physics. Now what is a while loop? Before that, let us understand what is a loop. A loop is basically something that keeps going on until it reaches its conclusion. So it's a repetitive task, you know. Okay, now let us suppose a situation in which we have to print numbers from 1 to 100. In simple programming or in simple Kotlin, you have to write print ln 1 and then print ln 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on and so forth till 100, right? And that is going to be really tedious and really hard work and really stupid work. I mean, there is a saying or there is a quote like which says as a repetition is a curse. I don't remember the repetition spelling, I forgot. So if repetition is a curse, what can we do? We can use loop to stop repeating ourselves. How does it work? It's simple. You say while we have a value x is equal to or is greater less than equal to 100, repeat this code. Until or unless it becomes 100, repeat this course. What is the code? Print ln x. Now let us suppose we have a variable x var x which is 0 and we have x plus plus means increase x every time we come in here, we execute this code, increase x by 1. Now what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to happen? It's going to print 0, then it's going to print 1, and then it's going to print 2 until it reaches 100. It's going to stop at 100. How do we know? Well, we know. Let's see how it works. So we go to our place, our IDE in here, right click in here, and we're going to create a new Kotlin file. And then from here, we're going to say main. We're going to say var x of type int is equal to 0 while x is greater than or equal to less than or equal to 100 in here. Then repeat this code, print ln x. After that we're going to say x plus plus. Simple, right? Now let's run this. And as you can see, we were able to print numbers from 0 to 100 using this simple code rather than writing hundreds of codes of lines. Okay, so well, this is nice. This is really nice. Okay, now let us actually look at something called do while. It's really simple. You put do in here, you take this out and you put do in here, and then you put while in here. Then what's going to happen is it's not going to be anything different. It's really the same thing. So if I come in here and see, it prints everything the same. Now what is happening in here? Let me bring out my Epic pen in here so it will help us explain the situation. This part of the while, this conditional part of the while, plays the main role in the execution. So it says when to stop. So basically, if we don't have this, we don't know when to stop. So we need to have this. So what happens in simple while? In simple while, when we come inside, we check, is x less than is equal to 100? Then we start printing. But there comes situation where we need to first do something, then do something, then check the condition. For checking the condition first, you use the while statement, and for checking the condition later, you use the do while statement. Now for loop works the same way as the while loop works, except for this part in here. This part in here. Something that can be done in for loop is apparently, theoretically possible in while loop too. So anything possible in while loop is also possible in for loop, theoretically. Okay, so practically it might be hard, but theoretically it's possible. Now this part in here is a bit complex part. It basically needs a group, or a collection, or a range. What do I mean by that? Well, it's going to be really hard for you to understand, but let me try explaining it as simple as possible. In as simple as possible way, print ln, and I'm going to say 1.5, and in here I forgot print again t. Now let us run this. Now as you can see, it prints 1.5. Now 1.5 is what? It is a range. It contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To break it down and write each step, each number, we need to use for loop. So we can say for I in 1.005 print ln I, and we're good to go. Now let's take this out. Now if I run this, it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let us take another example. It's going to be about arrays. We haven't covered arrays yet. We are going to be covering it after these tutorials, but let us understand what is going on in here. Let me print this in here. So we have a situation where we have languages variable, and this one variable contains Ruby, Kotlin, Python, and Java. It contains how many languages? It contains like 4 languages in here. So what I say is, for item in languages, for item could be I. So it's I, for the I, and I is basically the holder that is going to take Ruby, then it's going to print, then it's going to take Kotlin, then it's going to print, then Python, then it's going to print, and then Java. So I means every time I is going to iterate, it's going to change. So this time I in languages. Is Ruby present in languages? Yes, it is present, so print it. Is Kotlin present in the language? Yes, it is present, print it. Is Python present in the language? Yes, it is present, print it. Is Java present in the language? Yes, it is present, print it. Is nothing present in the language? No, it's not present, so don't print it. Here we stop. This is how it works. It goes through the array, a group, a map, a range, and then it checks whether this thing, this data belongs to the group. If it belongs, it's going to say true, and then it's going to go through this. Now what's going in here is you can actually skip the the curly braces, skip them. In Kotlin, actually you can print them as this, you can write as this, and it's going to accept this. It has no problem with that. So if I run this, as you can see, it has printed Ruby, Kotlin, Python, and Java. Well, I thought that we need actually to practice loops, so why not practice nested loops? So I'm going to actually clean this up. Now what is nested loop? Nested loop. It's basically a loop inside a loop. So if I have a for loop and inside it we have another for loop, then this form of writing loop inside a loop is called a nested loop. Nested loop or nested for loop. Let's create an example which prints timetables. What? Timetables. And those are from 1 to 10. And they're gonna look like 1 times 2. Okay, 2 times 1, sorry, equals 2. 2 times 2 equals 4. And so on and so forth. And then when it's 2 times 10 equals 20, it's gonna break it down by putting stars in here. It depends on you how much stars you want, maybe 10 stars. Then after that, it's going to start the 3 times 1 table. And so on and so forth till it reaches the 10 times 10s, that is equal to 100. So it's obvious that first thing first, we need a for loop. Okay? And we need what? We need ranges. Ranges. They will be from 2 to 10. That would be the tables from 2 to 10. Another range from 1 to 10, that would be the times. So 2 times 1 is equal to 2. Something like this. So these numbers get multiplied with these. Okay, now let's go back to our program and let's start programming, or let's go back to our IDE and let's start programming. So the first thing is for I in 2.5 or 10, sorry. So this is our first loop. This part is concerned with the 2 times 1. So this part is this one. So we say 2 times 1. So we need the 1 part. For the 1 part, we're going to write the 1 part in here. For j in 1.10. So we have now the second part, that is times 1. Now let's go with the third part. The third part is 2. So we need the result. For that, we're going to use the println simply. And inside in here, we're going to say $i times $j equals $i times j. So we are good to go. Let's print this for now and let's see whether it works or not. Obviously, we haven't done the line, the separator, the stars that would separate these lines. But let's see whether it works for now or not. And it is working. 2 times 1, 2 until it reaches 10. 10. So 2 times 10 is 20. Then it starts the 3 times 1. Now inside, after this loop, what I'm going to say is I'm going to say println, or actually I'm going to write a new loop. I'm going to say for. I could simply say that, but I want to use another for. I could simply say println and write star, and we are done. We are good to go. But I'm going to use the loop. But let me show you whether it works or not. And as you can see, it works really fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for k in 1.10, okay, print star. So it's going to print star 10 times. If I put println, it's going to create a new line after every star, and that's going to be a problem. So print star. Here we're going to face a problem that, well, let's see what the problem will be. Now as you can see, this part, the new table comes in here. We want it to start after the line, after the stars. So The way to overcome this problem is something you're gonna find by yourself. I'm not gonna help you with this. You go by yourself and search and learn how can you do it. It's gonna be simple. I hope it's simple. Well, it's simple. I know it's simple, but you check on it, you learn how it is done. And okay, now we are done in here. Let us understand what is going on in here again for once. So in here it says that 2, then it goes inside. In the for loop, it first says is 2 part of this range. Yes, it is part of this range, so it goes inside the for loop, which ends in here. So it's going to execute this whole program how many times? 10 times. Okay, now when it goes inside, it sees that there is another for loop. So the first thing it encounters is another for loop, and it says that I have to run this new for loop 10 times. So it basically has 10 boxes such as these. Okay, 10 boxes by this, and in every box it has to create another 10 boxes, and so on and so forth. Okay, and in every box it has to print 2 times 1, so it has to print the value of I, that is 2, then a value of j, that is 1 for the first time, and it should print the result. Now for the first box it's going to say 2 for the value of I for the first box, and the j will keep on changing till it reaches 10. Okay, now in the second box it's going to start with 3 because this loop has ended, right? So because we have to repeat this code 10 times, once we are done with this loop and we are done with creating the line, it goes back and says, okay, is 3 part of the range? Well, it is. So it creates a new box and it starts the same calculation again, but this time because the value of I is 3, so here we will get 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3 till it reaches 10 again. Now it starts again with the value 4 and checks 4 is 4 part of this range. So it is, so it's going to start again, and so on and so forth until it reaches 10 times 10, and it's going to be 100. And after that it's going to come back in here and say 11. Is 11 part of or is nothing part of this range? Obviously not, so it's going to stop. It's going to say stop, we are done with this loop, and we are done. The continue statement and the break statement. What? The continue and the break statement. So let us get started. Now what is the continue statement? Continue statement is used, or actually both of them are used in loop, and the continue statement is used when you want to skip an iteration. By that I mean, for example, from here, from for loop, you want to skip the number 3. What can you do? Well, you can just ask it to continue when the value is 3. Let's look at this. Actually, I'm gonna actually comment this out for this part only. Then we're gonna come back to this after a while. Now let's suppose I have 4 I in 1.5 or 10 if I is equal to 3, then continue, and in here I'm going to say print ln the value of I. Now what's going to happen is it's going to keep running this thing for 10 times, but when it sees the value is I, when it sees the value of I is 3, it's going to go inside this and continue. Basically skip 3 and it won't print it. It's going to skip it and then it's going to keep on executing till the program ends. So let us try this one. And as you can see, it wrote 1, 2, but it didn't print out 3 because we asked it to skip 3. And another way is Or the other thing is break. Break means to break the statement, to stop the execution of loop. So for that, when I reach till 5, I don't want to execute the loop anymore, because I don't want useless execution to keep on occurring while I'm not actually benefiting anything from that. So I can say basically break. So when the value of I is 5, break, because I need this statement to execute till 5. Actually, it won't even print 5. It's going to stop at 4, because when it's 5, it should break. So as you can see, 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now let's actually take this out and go back to our previous loop. Okay. Now we have the program that is used for creating timetables. Let us suppose I don't want the timetable number 3. I don't want the table of 3 to be printed. So obviously I can come in here and ask it to not do anything when the value of I is 3, because we get the table number from here. So we're going to say if I equals 3, then continue. So let's run this and see what happens. As you can see, after table of 2, we get table of 4, we don't get table of 3. But believe me if I say that this portion in here, or this portion in here, actually ran 10 times when it shouldn't have ran, because we are skipping, so we don't want it to run. But it ran because every time it checked whether the value of I is 3 for the value of 1, for the value of 2, for the value of 3, and so on and so forth. For this loop, it ran this statement 10 times, and we don't want that. And the proof of it is that it actually printed this after executing this whole statement 10 times. Okay, now there are 2 ways to overcome this problem. Number 1 is you can just cut this and print it here, or paste it here, sorry. And let's go. As you can see, after 2 it went to 4, but it didn't execute this part of the code, which proves that it didn't execute any useless code at all. The other way is you use the label. Well, the label is basically a name, such as main loop, and in here we're going to say main loop and add. So when you are naming it from the start, it will have add at the end, and when you are using it, it will have add at the start. So it's opening and closing, somewhat like this. So basically it's saying when I say continue, don't apply continue on this part in here, go and apply it on the main part. So it's gonna come here and it's gonna say, oh, continue. So it's gonna go back in here and it's gonna skip the value of 3. So let's run this and see whether it works or not. And as you can see, as a proof that this part didn't run at all. Now this main loop is user defined. You can use it, or you can name it whatever you want. You can have mloop and it will work fine. So mloop. And as you can see, we have no problem. So first of all, what is an array? An array is basically a collection of data, you can say, collection of information. So let's actually take an example so that we can understand. So the first thing is we need a variable, and the name of the variable for this time would be numbers, and we're going to say array of here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now this is our array, and as I said, array is collection of data, collection of anything. So in this case it's a collection of numbers, right? Now once you create an array, its size can't be changed. You have to keep this in mind. Its size can't be changed. Okay, so if an array has 5 places, it will always have 5 places. Now let us actually print these numbers. The way to print them is print ln numbers. I hope this is true, but this is actually not true because this doesn't work as we discussed in the for loop tutorial. This won't work. It rather gives us a location. So the way to overcome this problem would be, one of the ways is use for loop for I in numbers, print numbers. Obviously not print numbers this time, we have to print I, right? Because every time 1, 2, 3 becomes I, and they are checked whether they are in the group or not. So let's run this, and as you can see we have our numbers in here. Okay, good. Now what if I want to print an individual number? As you can see, I have to print all the numbers. What if I need to print individual number only? One way would be, the long way would be, you use the if condition. The particular number you want to print is what? Suppose it's 3. So you want to say if I is equal to 3, then print I. Otherwise it won't print. So let's run this. Obviously you can skip the curly braces, it's not a big deal. And as you can see, it skips 3 when it gets 3 in here. What if I say if I is 10, then print? Because there is no I as 10, it won't print anything in here. As you can see, it didn't print anything. So when it found 3, it printed 3. One way is this. Another way is, which is quite direct, is you gotta say println, and inside in here you say numbers, the square brackets, and from here you write the index number. Now what is index number? Index number basically is the location. This is location 0, this is location 1, this is location 2, this is location 3, and this is location 4. We need the location number 2's number, 2's data, 2's value. So the location number 2's value is 3. So it should print 3. Now as you can see, it printed 3. What if I want to change it? Change the value of this in here. Change this one's value. Quite simple actually. You can say set by saying numbers first. Numbers dot set, and which location? Location number 2. So index number. And then what value you want to change it to. Let's suppose I want to change the location number 3, location number 2's value to 10. So now if I run this, as you can see, oh, I changed the location number 0's, sorry, I need to change the location number 2's value. So let's rerun this. Now as you can see, the location number 2's value is 10. Great, right? Okay, now another thing. What if I want to add a new value? Sounds difficult, right? Well, it is possible, but you have to create another variable. For that, let's suppose you say var nums is equal to numbers dot plus, and the value you want to add is, let's say 200. Okay, and let's now print the nums. Okay, now it's not possible to print all the nums, so let's go to for I in nums println I. So it's going to print all the i's. And as you can see, in the new variable, or in the new array, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 200, 5 and 200, sorry. But in the previous one, it's all the same. So instead of nums, let's go to numbers and let's close this, and here let's print ln I. Let's run this. As you can see, 1 2 10 4 4 because we changed the value to 10. The other one is 1 2 3 because we are taking from here, from this one. So 1 2 3 4 5 then 200. So we have two arrays now rather than one. This method creates the new array and puts additional value to it. Now what is a function? A function is a separate piece of code, if that makes sense. It's a separate piece of code. We're going to start with the keyword fun. Fun means we are creating a function named as greet, and the name of the function is greet. It can be anything, and inside in here we have an argument, an input, which is called a person of type string, and the return type is string. I know it doesn't make sense to you for now, but bear with me for a second, and I'm gonna say return hello and the name of the person. Now in here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say println greet Ali. Greet what? Ali. And let's run this. So as you can see, it says hello Ali. Now what is happening in here? Now this is basically how function works. We create a function by saying fun keyword, or by writing the fun keyword and writing the name of the function, that is in this case greet, and the input that you use from the user, or that you need from the user. So I needed the name of the person, so I created an input that I will need from the person so that this function can work. So I said I'm creating a function called greet, and I need the user to give me the name of the person so that I can greet the person. Okay, and there is also a return type. Now this colon and string basically means return type. It means that the return, what I'm going to give back to this part in here, is this thing. Now returning is basically I'm going to take this portion in here after execution. So this becomes what? This becomes hello Ali, right? So it's going to say, it says that I'm going to take hello Ali in here, from here. Okay, I'm going to take hello Ali from here and put it here. Now we have hello Ali in here, right? And it's going to then print hello Ali. It's going to print what? It's going to print hello Ali because it has taken hello Ali from here. Okay, so it takes the execution. It says returning means taking this part after compiling and putting it in here. In that case, I'm going to take this outside, and I'm going to say I'm going to take this outside too, and I'm not going to return anything. Rather than that, I'm going to say println and I'm going to print. So if I say greet Ali, greet whom? Ali, and run this, same thing, it says hello Ali. Now let us say goodbye. Say goodbye. So fun, say goodbye. Goodbye. Now obviously we need to input the name of the person if required, sometimes not required. So it can basically say goodbye. So if I don't give it any name, it can just println in here, it can say goodbye. Goodbye. Now what's going on here? If you give it an input, it will ask during the execution to give it an input. But if you don't give it an input, it will still work without input. So for example, in our case, we just want to say it should return goodbye, not goodbye Ali. It should return goodbye. For that, we don't need any input. So in here, I can just say goodbye and run this. As you can see, it says hello Ali, goodbye. Now if I need the name, well, simple, I can say person or p1 or p, and I'll say it's a type of string. In here, goodbye $p, where p is the name we put in here, and the name is Ali. And let's run this. As you can see, it works really fine. Okay guys, that was all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.